Welcome to the Week 4 Postgame show. I'm your host, Christian Martinelli, joined today by Kyle and Jose. Another great week of games in the Legacy Leagues. I'm ready to get into it. You guys were there. You guys saw all the dunking and all the great games that went down this week. And we'll start off with one of the better games that we're going to have all year between two of the best teams in the league. Lob City versus Good U. Kyle, I know this was on court one. I know you were on court one all night. What do you see in this 71-65 win by Lob City? Tight game.
Yeah, it was just tight all around. If you were watching that game, you really had no idea who really was going to win at the end. It was very chaotic in the last 2 minutes. Every team was making a sum every two possessions, and the possessions were going by quickly. So it was just a very chaotic game, very close game. Nobody won really defensively or offensively. It came down to a missed shot, and Good U just missed their shots down at the end, and Lob City got the rebound, and they took it up the floor. They got fouled. They hit the free throws at the end, and that sealed the deal.
Yeah, and Lob City, that's what makes them such a tough matchup. They have so many guys that can do it, and then when Jose Mercado shows up, he's a force to be reckoned with every night. 29 points, 64% from the field. He even hit 4 3-pointers, so you can't stop him going to the rim. And if he has that step back 3-pointer going, Lob City's going to be a lot of they're going to beat pretty much almost every team in the league on any given night with that performance. Good U, obviously, strong performance from them. They show that they're still obviously a contender. And obviously we expect them to be there when things matter towards the end of the season. Going into game 2 here, RI Warriors versus Ball Don't Lie. Warriors have been coming on, starting to look very, very good here as the season's been going on. They've definitely shown that they got the cobwebs off of them week 1, week 2, and now they're starting to show what they can really do here. They beat down Ball Don't Lie by almost 30 points, 76-48. Jose, what do you see in this game from the Warriors in general?
Well, to be quite frank, honest with you, just all around dominance. They crashed the boards. They killed them on the boards. Getting those extra possessions were key, and kept it a very low turnover game. And hitting 10 threes is going to be tough to beat a team that hits 10 threes. And Ball Don't Lie just couldn't defend them. Quite frankly, honest with you, and just couldn't hang with them when it came to rebounds.
Yeah, and that's Ball Don't Lie. They've had this issue all year. Kyle and I talk about it on the podcast every week. They can't find scoring from anyone besides Grant Rosenberg. Again, he puts up 29 points. He's averaging 25 or so a game. Is there anything in your opinion, Jose, that Ball Don't Lie can do to really, figure out their offensive struggles, or is it just going to be like this for the final 3 games of the season and they're going to be one and done in the playoffs?
Well, I'm usually a person of optimism. From what I'm seeing is, Grant is obviously the vocal point. He's been the vocal point all year, and it's tough for him to carry the load. I think they just need to run some actions to where they could get easy looks at the basket, whether it's through the pick and roll or swinging the ball to the corner of the open 3 and spacing the floor, just hitting those 3-point shots, and if they can do that, they can give themselves a shot in any game, that's my opinion on Ball Don't Lie.
Definitely. And Kyle, to you, talking about someone that can give themselves a shot in every game, I think RI Warriors are proving that they can hang with anyone in this league. Statement performance this week. They've been putting up great performances every single week. They had 5 guys in double figures here. So what do you think when you hear about the RI Warriors? You think that they're going to be a real issue going forward for everyone?
Well, they're certainly turning it on at the right time. I mean, dropping 76 in a 30-point win. I mean, the numbers don't lie here. You got 31 rebounds. They're doing everything right defensively, making sure that there's no offensive rebounds, no secondary points, because that really kills teams in the end. 3 turnovers the entire game, being very careful with the ball, making sure you're not making any terrible mistakes and giving the other team any opportunities to come back. They're just playing basketball as how it should be played. very carefully, and they're just taking advantage of the chances they're getting.
Yeah, the Warriors, man, they've been really impressive here. Interested to see what they do going forward. I'm looking forward to see on the podcast this week talk about their matchup coming up this week. Um, but going to up to a matchup that maybe we thought was going to be a little bit more competitive this week. Werewolves versus the Halfway Crooks. Halfway Crooks, they've looked bad the last few weeks, and the Werewolves are coming on really strong here. Like maybe I was kind of hoping they would. They blow out the Halfway Crooks badly, 88-51. Kyle, so let's start off with the Halfway Crooks. What's going on there? Because it just wasn't competitive at all.
They're getting smothered on defense by the Werewolves. I mean, 35% shooting, and they only had 5 players. One person was only getting rest at the same time. Everybody had to like chuck up the same shots. They're mostly chucking up 3-pointers, and those aren't really falling because they combined for 8 made 3-pointers on 24% shooting. That's not going to win you games. And they were just being blocked, fouling. It was a very sloppy game by the Halfway Crooks, and it was just unfortunate to see because they did keep themselves in the entire, at least up until the first half. It was only a 9-point deficit that they were down, and then as soon as the third quarter happened, Werewolves won like a 10-0 run, and then at that point, the hole was just too deep.
Yeah. And Jose, I think you watched this game as well, right?
Yeah, I did.
So we see this depth from the Werewolves now coming to life. 6 guys in double figures. Was it? I mean, the box score shows this. Was it as much of a well-rounded performance as the box score shows?
Well, to be honest, they have some pretty good, bench players, but this production that you see on this box score was definitely the Halfway Crooks slacking on defense, honestly, because it's just watching that game, they kept what the Crooks are good at is making it a possession to possession game. Where it goes wrong for the Crooks is just when the game speeds up, man. When the game speeds up against them, they can't hang with that pace, and then they get overwhelmed by other teams throughout the turnovers and extra boards once it gets sped up and those quick shots. And honestly, it was just lackluster defense by the Halfway Crooks this game. A lot of open layups and wide open threes this game that honestly were just inexcusable, which led to what you see in this box score, the bench scoring a lot when they came in.
And yeah, Joey, I don't know, man. You got to figure something out with your team. It's getting ugly. I thought maybe it was going to be a new Halfway Crooks this year, but after that good start in week 1, it's been all downhill since then. So we'll see what happens with the Crooks. Werewolves are hot. They're starting to figure it out. Brian Heston, 21-21, unbelievable game by him. I'm excited to see what the Werewolves can do going forward because they're starting to show they are a contender.
He scored the same amount of points as he got rebounds. That's a pretty impressive feat by Brian.
That's unreal. And now on to our reigning defending champions against a team that is on a 2-game win streak, Duyer's Boys versus Sin City. I think maybe some people thought this game wasn't going to be too tight, but at halftime, we were looking at a 4-point game here. Kyle, you did mention on the podcast last week you thought this could be a trap game, a close game for Duyer's Boys, but they did wake up in the second half. They end up winning the game 90-70. Jose, so what was the key to Duyer's Boys pulling away in the second half here?
Well, man, as I said in the other post game, you got to talk about John, man. John scored 44 points. Like John is the lead guy for the Duyer's Boys, man. He just does everything, man. Like whatever it takes for the Duyer's Boys to get going within a close game, he does it, whether it comes from steals, rebounds, getting that extra board, going to the line, getting fouled, or making 3-point shots. He's just the heartbeat of that team right now. And same thing, Vincent is an all-around player as well, giving them energy. When you have 2 all-around players like that, you're a tough team to beat. 2 wings that are just versatile. It's tough.
Yeah, and shout out to Sin City, honestly, keeping it that close. They're proving to be honestly a tough out. They're giving everyone a tough game. Besides Lob City week one when they only had four guys there, they won back to back. They gave Dewey's, but this is the closest game for Dewey's boys all year, right, Kyle? We said it was 22 points, I think,
Now it's
and
20.
yeah, so now it's 20. Um,
Maybe next week it'll be 18.
yeah, we'll see. But Kyle, what do you think about Sin City? Because obviously they've shown that they're for real now.
Yeah, I like their playing style. I mean, they just go fast. I mean, most of the teams that we've seen here don't really play like 8-second offense, 5-second offense. Like they like to keep it going. They like to keep the motor going. I mean, they're just a team that is just so interesting to watch. Unfortunately, I've only got to see them play once this year out of uh, all the weeks I've been here. I'd like to see them more often though. But the one time I did see them, I liked them a lot. And yeah.
Yeah, and they have a lot of great scores. Again, this week Trey Gallo puts up 31 points. It seems like it comes from someone different every single week, which is um, very impressive for them. And like Jose said, Johnny Kutu, unbelievable performance, reigning player of the week last week, comes out, puts up 44 points. Um, Joey was catching some heat online. John wasn't up for player of the week again this week. I can't say I blame him, but you know, just an unbelievable performance. Dewey's boys stay hot, still haven't lost in 2 years, and we'll see. They may not lose again. You never know with this team. They're just that good. So we go from a game that was relatively high scoring to one of the lower scoring games you'll probably ever see in Legacy League's history. Ozone Boys outlast the Orcas 55-38. Kyle, I know you get to see this game. Ozone Boys, they get the W's how they need to get the W's. But Orcas, man, they've been struggling to score the ball back-to-back weeks. Off the top of my head, I'm not 100% sure, but I think they've combined for 90 points or 80 points in their last 2 weeks. So what's going on with their offense? Because obviously something isn't clicking now.
They keep shooting 3-pointers and they're just not falling. Uh, I don't know what the record is, but they had 1 of 21, not even 5% 3-point shooting. I don't know what the record is on worst 3-point shooting, or I don't know if anyone's made 0 before though, but that's not good. They need to stop shooting the 3-pointers and rely more on getting layups, more fundamental stuff. Free throws seem to be one of their best things. They shot 64% from the free throw line. Maybe find a way to get fouled down low to get to the line, because that seemed to be their number one way of scoring, because 20 to 28% shooting on the floor is never going to win you games. Never, ever, ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Orcas, man, their biggest advantage, in my opinion, is their size. Shooting that many 3-pointers at a low percentage, it just doesn't seem like they're using it to their advantage. They rebound great, but they got to figure out this offense, or else, we were giving them all that credit a few weeks ago on the podcast, and now it's not looking so great after back-to-back bad offensive performances. But to talk about the winning team, the Ozone Boys, Jose, I mean, this is a team that can do it in many different ways. It seems like someone is a different leading scorer every week for them. And what is their advantage that they're able to use against these teams to pull out the games, whether they're low or high scoring?
Well, obviously last week they lost because they were shorthanded, but man, really what it is for them is that 4 in, 4 out substitution. They get fresh legs and they get about the same production with those 4 substitutions in for those other guys. And I think that's the key, honestly, because if you could substitute the same production that your starters are doing, that is perfectly fine. That's going to lead to wins and W's and consistency. And I've really taken notice of the Ozone Boys. I've seen them a lot, and Paul McGuire's shooting leads them. His floor spacing and his shooting of the 3 ball is excellent, and it really opens up the floor for those cutters and for those gaps for people to get in and slash and get to the basket and get those layups.
Yeah. Yeah, like you said, Paul McGuire, outstanding from three this week, 6 for 10. He had 5 more threes than the Orcas did just by himself on 12 less attempts. So that's unbelievable showing from him. The Hogan brothers don't put up huge numbers this week, but we know that they're dangerous. Just overall, Ozone boys, man, they're a team to be reckoned with. They're going to be a tough out for anyone, and we're seeing here now at 3-1, they're showing that they're a top contender.
Despite this game not being as high scoring as it was very entertaining with all the dunks that we were seeing.
Yeah,
especially from Ozone. Oh my God, the dunks that they did. I don't know who it was, and Jose can back me up on this though. There was a nasty dunk in
I'll
the
tell you who
Ozone.
it is. I know who it is. It was Jason. I don't know how to say his last name, Jason, but number 13. Let me tell you, I was on court 3, and I seen it, and I stopped recording on Snapchat because of how bad it was. Somebody got baptized on the Orcas, man.
Yeah, that's Jason. I think it's Laro Cillier or something like that. I think it's French.
Yeah, I didn't want to butcher his name, but yeah.
I probably just did. But
he put someone on a poster last week. Everybody from all around had to look, and Ozone boys jumped off their bench. They were going crazy. I mean, the Orcas did throw some big slams down too, though. But it was a great game for dunks, though. It was a great game for dunks.
You guys saw the Ozone boys 2 summers ago. Jason was doing this every single game. The Hogan brothers, like, this is just what they do. They're high flying, a lot of fun to watch, bring the energy, and that's why you gotta love the Ozone boys for sure. And now for the last game of the week, between two teams which are kind of bottom feeders towards the bottom of our power rankings at this moment in time. Stampede versus the Mambas. Jose, this ended up being an excellent game. I think Kyle and I made a pick 'em on the podcast, so it was as close as we thought it might be. And Stampede pulled this one out 69-67. Pretty nice win for them. So what happens in this game? Because it looked like the Mambas had the lead coming down the stretch.
Man, this game was the Mambas had the lead from like the whole game. They kept it, but Stampede did not let them get away into the double digits. Stampede just found dirty ways and dirty plays to just keep it up, whether it was through an offensive rebound or defensive stops, just chipping away or getting layups, or getting to the basket. They just really stayed on it. It was an absolutely crazy game. It looked like the Mambas were going to win at the end. They were up 5 with, I believe there was about 40 something seconds left. Stampede comes down, run a play. They swing it over to Austin Barkley. Austin Barkley pulled a deep 3. Boom, cuts it to 2. And within a matter of 3 seconds, I honestly just could not believe what I was watching. Within a matter of 3 seconds, I believe it was Dan Heston stole off the inbound pass and laid it up with 15 seconds left. It was a tie game, which eventually led to overtime. And eventually Stampede just grinded it out and won it in overtime by 2.
Yeah, unbelievable game. And it comes down to Stampede now winning back-to-back games. That's great for them. A team that was not looking good their first few weeks. And, now we're talking about a Mambas team that we said this is their chance to win a game. It's looking tough for them now with, 4 guaranteed games left. But Kyle, now we're looking at this. What can the Mambas do to win this game? Obviously, they're settling for too many shots. Is that the difference, maybe just to get to the hole now so that they can maybe win a game or 2 here at the end of the season?
That 36% shooting's not pretty. Shooting 24-66 because most of the time that's not going to win you games though. But in this instance of how this went into overtime, when you have the lead, hold on to the ball, and if you're in the penalty, just hold on, get fouled, and just make your shots. Because it's going to save you most of the time. It's going to keep the clock going. Because in this instance, time is your enemy, and you want to make sure that clock gets to 0. You don't want to do any crazy stuff. And unfortunately, that's what happened to the Mambas this week. They did some crazy stuff, and it just led to mistakes happening.
Yeah, Mambas, it's going to be tough for them now. but they have put up a lot of good fights in almost every game. They've kept it pretty close. Stampede, 3 guys scoring 19 points, 4 guys in double figures. Another solid win for them. They're doing what they have to do to win these games. Ugly, pretty, however they need to do it. It's a good win for them. And those are the games we had this week. But before we go, I want to ask you guys just a few questions here. We're at the midway point of the season. We're starting to see how things are panning out. And I'm interested to hear from both of you guys. So we have 3-1 teams remaining. Duyer's boys are undefeated. I think they're number 1 in everyone's power rankings at this moment in time, or at least they should be. So from these 3-1 teams, Lob City, Good U, and the Ozone Boys, who do you think has the best opportunity to make the championship, to face off with the Duyer's boys? I'll start off with you, Kyle, because your face is up right now, and then Jose, you can go. You guys can have the same answer if you want, or whatever. Just I want to hear what you guys think.
For me, I said last week Ozone Boys, and I'm sticking with it. They play great basketball. If this was high school and their coach would be super proud of how they're playing. They played fundamentally. They play smart. They're very aware of the floor. They have great chemistry between each other, and it's like a well-working machine. And for the most part, they score no issue, and they get back on defense, and they're ready for the other team to come down, and they're ready for whatever, whether it's a 3, a 2, something in the paint. They're ready for everything, and that's frankly what a basketball team needs to do, is be prepared for everything.
I love that answer because, out of those 3 teams, I think Ozone Boys definitely the least likely team that you would expect for someone to say. But, I love Ozone Boys. We were just talking about how we love their energy and everything. So they're a very interesting team. I can't wait to see what they do the rest of the season. And Jose, for you, I'm assuming you're not going to go with the Ozone Boys here, but which one of those 3 teams do you think is going to push for the Duyer's Boys in the championship?
Man, you know what? No, I might actually go with the Ozone Boys by just a slim margin, though, because it it's just when they're at full strength and they got that 4 in, 4 out. That's just so hard to like beat. Like they even out the minutes, and it's whoever comes in, it's production, and they're just when they got like Kyle said, it's a well-oiled machine, man. When they got it going, it's going. They got rhythm. They don't waste any possessions, and they just take good shots. But my only thing with Lob City is how much can you really rely on Jose Mercado to carry the load? Somebody else is going to have to step up. That's my only small thing with Lob City. If somebody other than Jose can step up to the plate and become like that Robin to his Batman, I think that'll definitely push him over in my opinion to the championship, because it's hard to beat when the Ozone Boys when you have a fully balanced team and everybody can give you a piece of something.
Yeah. I love those answers out of you guys. It's definitely not maybe the thought process everyone would see this as, but I like that because Ozone Boys, man, they're kind of that sneaky team that people are just learning right now that they are actually for real. In my opinion, I would say that Lob City is my team. They already beat Good U. They already beat the Ozone Boys. I know I think at least the Ozone Boys are missing some guys that game, but Lob City, I just think they're very dangerous all around. I think they're going to be a threat all year. But if Ozone Boys can make that run, that'll be a lot of fun because they're definitely a little bit of a sleeper, for sure. And before I let you guys go, we're at the midpoint of the season, so we may as well just talk about it. Who do you guys have as the midway point MVP? I'm interested to know. Obviously there's 3 more weeks left and playoffs. But Jose, I'll start with you and then Kyle, because I know someone in my mind. We might have the same person in all our minds right now, but let's see what we're thinking.
I mean, me personally, it might be a little biased because I've watched a lot of Lob City, but Jose Mercado, man, that dude is something to be reckoned with, man. When he can get to the rack and he has a jumper, and he has that length. It's just that's tough to beat, and he's just so efficient. Like you can't beat out that production offensively and efficiency. That's personally the somebody that I have for MVP right now, just because of how much I've watched Lob City and how much of a big impact he has on Lob City and them winning games.
Yeah, great answer. Reigning MVP, by the way, 2019 MVP. So just going from where he left off. And Kyle, how about you? You thinking the same thing with Jose, or are you going to go a different direction?
Different direction. I'm going John Kuto. 121 points total on the year. He's leading the league in scoring. He's leading the league in points per game with 30 a game. Very efficient shooter, shooting more than 50% shooting, 63, one of the better players in the league. Very efficient three-point shooter, very efficient free throw shooter. Always down there getting boards. He's an all-around. He reminds me a lot like Russell Westbrook, always everywhere, always causing havoc on the floor, and that's a teammate you'd like to have on your team. That's on any team.
Yeah, and John Kutu, that is, I think, honestly, you guys just said the two front runners for it. John Kutu averaging a double-double, 30 points, or actually not double-double, 30 points, 9.5 rebounds, so almost double-double. Um, Honestly, I agree with you, Kyle. John Kutu, I think it would be fun if Vincent Volpe and John Kutu could win like a co-MVP, just because how nasty their dynamic duo has been. Almost 56 points a game, 15 rebounds combined, probably like 15 assists. So it's just been unbelievable to watch those guys kind of just work together, keep this win streak going, and dominate on the court. That would be pretty awesome. But it's probably going to be one face, one name at the end of the year. And I think the two guys names you mentioned are going to be head to head, and we'll all have a vote, and we'll see what happens in these next 3 weeks. I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, thank you guys. Had a good time on here wrapping up week 4 with you guys. I'm looking forward to week 5. I'm looking forward to the podcast. You can check that out coming up in a few days. So Kyle, Jose, thank you guys. Have a great week. Appreciate it.